Good morning, Master Jiru, wherever you are. Good morning, Venerables and senior teachers. And happy Mother's Day. This is a day to celebrate our mothers, and I think every day it's a good day to celebrate our mothers because we all have been a mother in this cycle of existence at some point in our samsaric cycle. So, yes. And because of that, I was not expecting too many people to be here today, so I was short on my copies. I was trying to save the trees and not to print too many of those handouts I gave. So, my name is Toni, and my Dharma name is Xianning. I have been practicing here for a while, and I had the opportunity to be in the teacher's training, and then some opportunities arose for us to give talks, maybe in retreats or in Sunday Dharma talks as today. Yeah. I chose the subject of my talk today to be on the 37 factors of enlightenment. And that is basically what you see on that handout. There are 7 sets of 37 qualities. So I will start by quoting from these 7 sets of 37 qualities, which are in the Bhavananuyutta Sutta from the Pali Canon, in the particular mental development discourse, in the Anguttara Nikaya 767. And the Buddha says, monks or bhikkhus. When he refers to monks and bhikkhus, he actually refers to everyone that was in the audience at that time, like us here today, not necessarily to the monks. So we all are listening to this right now. Monks, although a monk who does not apply himself to the meditative development of his mind may wish, oh, that my mind might be free from the taints by non-clinging. Yet his mind will not be freed. For what reason? Because he has not developed his mind, one has to say. Not developed it in what? In the 4 foundations of mindfulness, the 4 right kinds of efforts or striving, the 4 bases of success, the 5 spiritual faculties, the 5 spiritual powers, and the 7 factors of enlightenment, and as well the Noble Eightfold Path. End of quote. Further, in the Pali Canon, as well as in the Agamas and other early schools, these 7 sets of 37 qualities conducive to enlightenment are enumerated as 4 establishments or foundations of mindfulness. Number 1 is the mindfulness of the body, Kaya Anupassana. Number 2, mindfulness of feeling, Vedana Anupassana. Number 3, mindfulness of state of mind or consciousness, Chitta Anupassana. 4, mindfulness of mental phenomena, Dhammanupassana. Then we continue with the 4 right efforts. First effort or exertion would be for preventing of unskillful states to arise. Exertion for the abandoning of existent arisen unskillful states. Exertion for the arising of skillful states. Exertion for the sustaining and increasing the arisen skillful states. Then the 4 bases of power, which are the base for the 5 powers that will follow afterwards. They are will, chanda, energy, viriya, consciousness, chitta, examination, vimamsa. Now we continue with the 5 spiritual faculties. Faith or conviction, this is sada, energy, viriya, Mindfulness, sati. Unification of mind or collectedness, this is samadhi. And wisdom, panya. Now, on the basis of the 4 powers, we do have the 5 powers. Experiential faith, sada, energy, virya, mindfulness, sati, collectedness or unification of mind, samadhi, and wisdom, panya. The 7 factors of awakening, we have number 1, mindfulness, sati, investigation, dhamma vikaya, energy, virya, joy, piti, tranquility, passaddhi, unification of mind, samadhi, equanimity, upekkha. You can see so far some of those repeat in the different sets of 7. So that is continuation with the Noble Eightfold Path. We have right understanding, Sama Ditti, the Sama Ditti Sutta that Dan mentioned this morning. Right intention, Sama Sankappa. Right speech, Sama Vakka. Right action, Sama Kamata. Right livelihood, Sama Avijja, Jiva actually. Right energy or effort, Sama Vayama. Right mindfulness, Sama Sati. And right unification or collectedness of mind, Sama Samadhi, also called concentration. After listing all factors necessary to develop along the path for awakening, I would like to focus more deeply on the Satta Bojjhanga formed by the words Satta, 7, body, awakened or enlightened, and Anga, limb, branch, or factor. Thus, we have the 7 factors of awakening. So let's discuss the arising, growth, and attainment of the 7 factors of awakening through abiding them in conjunction with conscious breathing. Satta Bojjhanga or Satta Sambojjhanga in Pali, and Sapta Bodhyanga in Sanskrit. Number 1 here we have mindfulness, which is sati. Its full attention is the main factor of awakening. Full attention is awareness, being fully awake, alert, and present. My favorite translation is Bhante Vimalaramsi's version of this term. He says, remembering to watch how the mind moves from one object to another. So that's mindfulness, sati. Number 2, investigation of the Dhamma, Dhamma Vikaya. This one constitutes the work of observation to shed light on the object of our meditation and see clearly all that exists and arises. Also to remember to come back to watch the mind's movement. Number 3, energy, that was in Romanian by the way, encompasses perseverance and diligence, constant effort and striving. Number 4, rapture or piti manifests as bliss and an intense interest in the spiritual practice. Number 5, tranquility or calmness, passaddhi. Also, I've seen this word as pasambaya, which sounds a little better. It's a quietude of mind that can lead to a state of collectedness. It also includes tranquilizing the bodily formations. We always remember that it tranquilizes the mind, but we do not need to forget that we also have to tranquilize what arises in the body, a sensation, feeling, emotion. Number 6, collectedness or concentration, samadhi, gives rise to understanding. When we have understanding, we can go beyond all comparing, measuring, discrimination, and reacting out of attachment and aversion. It is a calm, collected state of mind that stays purely on the object of meditation. Number 7, that tops them all, it's equanimity, upekkha. This is seeing the arising and passing away of objects with a calm and tranquil mind, without disturbances, with dispassion and detachment. It's an imperturbable mind, just like the surface of a lake that you can see in the light of a moon, without any vibration on the surface. A particular detached and balanced mind in the face of change, as a response to fully understanding and practicing the 3 seals of existence. Anicca, impermanence; anatta, no self; and dukkha, unsatisfactoriness or suffering. I like to note here a translation that Bhikkhu Bodhi likes, the venerable teacher Bhikkhu Bodhi that we had here a couple of times. He translates this equanimity as right in the middleness. Just kind of simply that, just right in the middleness of things. That's where you find equanimity. And also very interesting and encouraging translation I found by Upasa Kaki. She is a lay Thailand-born Buddhist teacher that wrote a book, Pure and Simple. It is just like she says, a very pure and simple book on meditation. And she calls this equanimity normalcy of mind. And that's very encouraging for us to know that equanimity is actually our normal state of mind. It's not something that we need to achieve or get or conquer. It is already there, but we have not had access to it probably since we are born. Because we got conditioned, we got to live in the world, and we got to suffer, and we got to have to protect ourselves. So getting just to know that this pure translation of equanimity, upekkha, is normalcy of mind, it's really, really, really good news for all of us. Because it's in us already. It's in me, it's in you, in everyone that is alive. So we just need to uncover and get to the bottom of this, which is hidden way within ourselves. But it is definitely part of us. And as far as anicca, impermanence, one of the 3 seals of existence, I like to note that not only Buddhism acknowledges impermanence as the way of the universe. We all know that nothing gets lost in the universe, everything gets transformed, everything is energy, and everything flows and changes all the time. Our experience change, our emotions change, our blood cells change every 3 months. We are not as permanent as we like to think. We are born and we die, and we come and go in this cycle of samsaric existence. So anyway, the pre-Socratic Greek philosopher Heraclitus mentions this impermanence by saying, quote, "No man ever steps in the same river twice, for it's not the same river and he's not the same man." As I was researching different materials, reading and listening to the Dharma on the factors of equanimity, I was able to distinguish that there are 2 modes in which we can find equanimity. First one is the type of equanimity we may need to develop in the face of the vicissitudes of life. second mode is referring to the equanimity as in the Brahma Viharas, the sublime states, as we are able to treat all beings equally with infinite love and compassion. I have an example here of my experience with the first mode of equanimity in the face of life's changes. And this was the type of a gain and loss that I encountered as I was typing this paper. I had about 5 pages typed, and Microsoft stopped working. Somehow I might not have a new version of it, or it's not I don't know what it is, but it had done it to me a few times. So I had these 5 pages typed, and it just gave me this message. Do you want to close the program? Would you like to report the problem? Oh my God, okay. So I said, okay. I said, no, I'm not going to report the problem. I never understood how to use that. I never tried it anyway. So I felt a slight uneasiness arising in me, but I had hoped that my saved work would be there because I was saving, and actually the computer saves as I'm going along, I thought. So I reopened the Word and I get to frame a blank paper. Like, oh, that's not it. I still try not to panic just yet. I take a deep breath and I call my son for help. He is my computer guru because I don't know much about computers. So I had no doubts that he can recover my paper. I had lots of faith in him. He came along quickly, actually, which was surprising. He usually takes time to respond sometimes. So he tried, looked around, and said, Mom, it's really gone. Ooh, the blood drained from my face. I lost my breath and got in a panic. I felt like I lost a big chunk of my life. Or maybe I really did, since my thoughts were proliferating on how I will have to rethink the whole paper. I did not have any notes about it, how I have to rearrange it and to type it again, and how I will have, I'm a slow typist anyway, and it will take me forever, and I won't have time to finish, and I will have to ask for a change of date on my talk, and it looks so bad in front of my peers and my teachers and venerables that I have to do that. So you get the idea where my mind was taking me. I was gone. So I was feeling pain, chest constrictions. I was in deep suffering already, dukkha. In 1 second, I was in hell, no question about it. I did realize, though, how taken I was by this wave, and I still could not pull myself out. I decided to leave the office room where I was typing in and got into the landing, and I sat down on this lounge chair I have next to my ficus or rubber plant. I looked at the plant, which saved me, because I realized the plant has no water. So I get up and get focused on that. Let me grab some fresh water for the plant. I got a water, I watered the plant, and my heart felt a little lighter due to the good deed I was about to perform. I was able to take a full breath as I leaned forward to water the plant. So I already felt much better having this sense of dana, of generosity in my heart. So I somehow, unintentionally, I used an antidote to my suffering. I did something good on top of something bad that was arising in me. I will add here the Buddha's quote that could help us when we face these inevitable changes of life. Praise and blame, gain and loss, pleasure and sorrow come and go like the wind. To be happy, rest like a giant tree in the midst of them all. And how easy is that to do? Not so. The second type of equanimity is totally expressed by the acts of the South African anti-apartheid revolutionary leader and philanthropist Nelson Mandela. Not by me, I'm not that good. I'm not there yet. I may need many more lives in samsara to gain that level of equanimity. Mandela was in prison for 27 years. And at some point, he realized he was becoming quite depressed. He found no purpose or sense in his life. He had no one close to love, to give things to good deeds for, to share. All he had were the cockroaches and rats in his cell. He had already accepted those and shared with them his cell, his warmth, and his food. He was still missing out. He realized he needed human beings, and we all do need that. So all he had nearby were his guards. He decided to love the closest people that he was in contact with every day, to purely, truly love these guards that were taking care of him. His kindness and love were infinite towards this person that hid him, despised him, and punished him. As a response to the outpouring of unconditional love, the guards that were usually mean and nasty and bullying him all the time eventually started to care for him as well. So this particular guard could no longer be his guard. He got dismissed. Another guard got appointed to him to take care of his cell. He applied the same. He loved him equanimously. He did not respond to anything that was provoked. He just purely loved this person. This also turned out to return his love. He was also sent away. And when he was out of prison, these two guards followed him when he became the first Black president of South Africa. They were his second and first advisors and great people that helped him along his path. Great example of equanimity. Very hard to do for humans. Our Mahaguru, our great teacher, the Buddha, reminds us that the 7 factors of enlightenment, if practiced diligently, lead to true understanding and full emancipation. I particularly liked this simple explanation of emancipation. Quote, "Going beyond is letting go. Those who arrive at letting go will have the bud of a half smile, which proves compassion as well as understanding." End of quote. Now, to further understand the 7 factors of enlightenment from the Bojjhanga Sutta, I would like to quote this verse. "Furthermore, the monk remains focused on mental qualities in and of themselves, with reference to the 7 factors of awakening." And how does he remain focused on mental qualities in and of themselves, with reference to the 4 frames of reference and 7 factors of awakening? There is the case where, there being mindfulness as a factor for awakening present within, he discerns that mindfulness as a factor of awakening is present within me. Or, there being no mindfulness as a factor of awakening present within, he discerns that mindfulness as a factor of awakening is not present within me. He discerns how there is the arising of unreasoned mindfulness as a factor for awakening. And he discerns how there is the culmination of the development of mindfulness as a factor of awakening once it has arisen. The same formula is repeated for the remaining factors of awakening, for investigation, energy or persistence, rapture, tranquility or serenity, concentration or collectedness, and equanimity. In this way, he remains focused internally on mental qualities in and of themselves, or externally, unsustained by, or not clinging to anything in the world. This is how a monk remains focused on mental qualities in and of themselves. End of quote. As the meditator proceeds on his path to awakening, he will need to bring in balance the 7 factors of enlightenment. When these factors come into balance, Nibbana occurs. So what does balancing mean? Are there too much of one factor and not enough of the other? At first, I thought one should not use either too much nor too little of each factor. One must have the right amounts of each ingredient for the recipe. Once the balance is achieved, the mind will enter into cessation of perception, feeling, and consciousness. This leads to seeing the links of dependent origination and the attainment of Nibbana. I soon learned from other teachers that this was not correct. Not all factors are created equal. Some factors you can never have too much of. The rest you can have either too much or too little. They are what may be called fixed factors, the ones that don't need to be changed, and variable factors. Fixed factors are always wholesome factors of mind, and they can never be found in unwholesome states. And they are always positive, no matter how much of them are present. And they are mindfulness, collectedness, and equanimity. The variable factors like energy, joy, investigation, and are sometimes unwholesome and sometimes wholesome, or mixed, wholesome and unwholesome. These are factors which must be balanced specifically with a not too much or not too little guideline. Then I realized how equanimity could be the balancing factor in the recipe. And I remember Master had this chart where he had the 4 quotients that can be applied to our existence. We all know about IQ, intelligent quotient, and maybe we know about EQ, emotional quotient. But also he adds there the adversity or aversion quotient, the AQ, and also he added the perfection quotient. And I can see how this can form a scale where things need to be balanced. And I was picturing in my mind equanimity to be the balancing factor. So we all work on our paramitas, and we work on our intelligence by reading the Dhamma and trying to improve ourselves. And we work on the aversion quotient by trying not to be in the middle of things, like Bhikkhu Bodhi said, not to have too many likes and dislikes. But equanimity can be the factor that can balance them all. As far as I had this realization on myself, I don't know if it's accurate or true, but I thought I would bring it out. So I also like to actually recite the verses of the Bojjhanga Sutta from the Mahavagga. Bojjhanga Suttam Nititam, but we're not going to say it in Sanskrit or Pali. We're going to do the English version. So it starts like so. These 7 dharmas are the factors of enlightenment, which eradicate all the suffering of the creatures who are transmigrating in the universal flux, and which suppress the army of death. Having realized these 7 dhammas of the creatures had attained the immortality, the fearlessness, birthless, decayless, and cycless stage, they become transcendental and liberated from 3 existences. O thou, let us recite this doctrine of factors of enlightenment. Endowed with such and other qualifications, altogether with innumerable qualities, this is a medicinal spell. The factors of enlightenment are mindfulness, investigation of the Dhamma, and also effort, rapture, tranquility, and other factors of enlightenment. The factor of concentration and equanimity. All these 7 are well expounded by the all-seer, cultivated and amplified repeatedly by the sage. In order to discern profoundly, to realize the wisdom, and to attain Nibbana. By this asseveration of this truth, may you be happy forever. At one time, the Lord saw Venerable Moggallana and Venerable Kassapa suffering and sick, and he expounded the 7 factors of enlightenment. The 2 elders were also delighted thereat, and at that very moment were liberated from the sickness. By this asseveration of truth, may you be happy forever. Once, even the king of Dhamma, the Buddha himself, was afflicted by sickness. Then the elder Kunda was requested to recite that very doctrine with due reference. Having delighted the Lord, rose thereupon from that sickness. By this asseveration of truth, may you be happy forever. Just as the defilements annihilated by Magga consciousness can arise again no more, in like manners these ailments were eradicated from the 3 great sages. By these asseverations of truth, may you be happy forever. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all beings in all realms be happy and free of physical and mental suffering. Shanti.